Hey, this is the man from Modesto. Recently, I play in an online gaming forum, and recently I decided that I'd like to join some team tournaments, and so I sent an inquiry to one team that I liked, and I asked if I could join. So the response came back. The person says, well, I see by your profile that you are a Christian. So I just want to make sure first that you're okay with, people of other faiths and people of no faith and people from the LGBT community. So I want to clear something up here. There is a big deception, and I'm just going to be right up front here. It's not true that Christians just hate everybody. I've lost friends who remain dear to me, and so it remains a bit of a pain for me to carry, who I knew from high school, who came out later as gay and then instantly rejected me because I was a Christian, because I became a Christian, because I know the living God and I have seen the power of God, and I can't be swayed. People want to say, well, you should accept that this is okay and this is the right thing. No, there are things that people do that are not okay, and I don't accept them. Now, do I hate the people who are, listen to this carefully, who are snared by lies, who are overpowered by spirits of addiction, anger, pain, or suicide? Absolutely not. No, I want to fight for those people to set them free, that they will have greater peace and greater joy and more love and more victory and far fewer setbacks. This is the power of God in the life of a person to overcome and destroy. It's called grace, the power of God, the kingdom of God. People talk about just salvation, but there's a lot of deception, and people want to come forward and say, well, Christians hate. Well, I don't know if I can let this Christian into my group. People, how is that not a bias? How are you asking me, hey, well, do you hate everybody? How is that not a bias? Let me, I won't answer the question. I'll let you answer it yourself. When someone looks at another group and says, those people hate all people who were born with dual sexual organs. They hate them, that's it. So because they hate them, it's okay for you to hate them. It's okay for you to ask them if they're haters. What other kinds of biases are there against different groups? Hey, you're short. Does that mean that you have a Napoleon complex? People would be like, who's asking this? But when it comes to Christians, it's okay. And now I'm going to tell you why it's okay, or why people believe it's okay. It's not okay. Satanists own, listen carefully, you fact check this before you refute this. Satanists own 99%. An oligarchy of Satanists own 99% of textbook publishing. They control most of the dean seats. They control the Senate. This is what they've said themselves. They control the Senate. They control most of the House. These are their own claims. And I've done, over the many years, a lot of researching to show that this is true. And you can look, they've even merged things together now. Most of the major media things are owned by just a few corporations. And all of the boards are set on by the traditional Satanist families, the ones who have funded all sides of war in order to control the bank pressing systems so that they can control the government by controlling the money, by owning your debt. They trade fictional currency that they just make out of paper for real property. They collect it. They seize it when you don't repay the money they gave. This is their plan. It's pretty clever. It's working well for them. They own all of those textbooks. They own the majority of the newspapers. I've heard again, 99%. One particular family, that's their domain. They own all that stuff. And they can promote who they want. They can fire someone who publishes something they don't like. They control that. They control anthropology and archaeology by funding all of the internships, and then permanent staff members to the national museums are only chosen from this pool of interns. So all those interns who were picked by these satanically controlled, who were funded by satanically funded groups, so you can guess how they choose who gets to be an intern, right? Suppose someone writes in, I'm going to prove, that man did live at the same time as dinosaurs, and that dinosaurs have lived much more recently than, 100 million years ago, and these different kinds of lies that are propagated. Do you think that guy's going to get the internship when the Satanists are funding it? This is how they control you. They put out all kinds of lies. Now, That is the truth about a Christian. I really have a great compassion for people. I really love people. I have most of my time walking down the street, I just see people and I imagine, like, what if this was my dear friend, you know? Wow, you know, I would love this person so much, you know, but there are only so many people you can really get to know. This is how a Christian kind of thinks. This is the heart of God. He loves everybody so much, you know. What if this person were my only child? Try that. Look at someone. What if this was my only child? You instantly don't care if they're old, fat, stupid looking, tall, short, beautiful, well-dressed. You don't care. It doesn't matter. If that was your only child, this is the kind of love that a Christian has for people we love. And what we do hate, what we loathe, are things like hypocrisy, things like people cheating someone else out of their money, things like someone doesn't pay a fair salary for a fair day's labor. Those are the things that I hate. I hate the way I see corporations going. I hate the way I see suicide on the rise. I hate the way I see that they're building Satanist things which will snare people and entrap them, and they'll get bound up in bondage. Those are the things I hate. The people who get trapped, the people who become deceived, no. I don't hate those people. That's the real treasure. There's only one thing worth anything in this whole world, and it's people, it's souls, it's spirits. Those are the only real treasure. Everything else is going to pass away. The camera I'm looking at, the computer you're watching this on, all these things will pass away. They will break, they will be gone. But the people remain. The eternal souls which live forever remain. And those souls all have one great need: to be forgiven for their failures, for their shortcomings, for their angry outbursts, to be redeemed. And God provided this. God has one redemption plan. And He taught the notion of blood sacrifice so that people would understand that when Jesus died on the cross, that when His blood poured out, that is the only solo plan of redemption. Jesus is the Redeemer. He is your Redeemer. It doesn't matter what anybody told you before today. It doesn't matter where you're going to go after this. But the day that you accept Jesus, I can look back and tell you it's true, that Jesus will come into your life. And He will begin to turn the course of your life. You will lose the things that were going to destroy you 5 years from now. And it might hurt a little bit. But the new things will begin to come in. And as you learn to manage them and control them and walk in this new thing, God will bring in more things. He will be active in your life. He will be your closest and dearest friend. The living God, a real sentient being who sees and knows everything. Omniscient, omnipotent, a real God. Not the God that the people who fear Him want you to believe exists. Whose people, the Christians, the children of God, the sons and daughters of God, who embody His Spirit and convey His love into the world. So that when you see a Christian, at least in their best moments, you see the face of God. Now, this is a man from Modesto. If you've hated on Christians, I forgive you. I forgive you. Please try not to hold a bias against us. I'm telling you the truth here, and that's how you ought to expect a Christian to behave. It's the man from Modesto, reminding you as always to pray or be defeated.